Good afternoon. I've come over today and it has rained and rained and rained, and I thought I'll go over and I'll just check out what's going on. And I thought, well, the greenhouse waters itself now, everything's been watered outside, all I have to do really is the polytunnel. So have I de-skilled myself to the point where the allotment doesn't need me anymore? But I'm sure that's not the case. Oh, let's go for the strawberries. I put the strawberries outside now. I've had my fill off them. If the birds take them now, they can have them. You just get so sick of the things, don't you, in the end? Like the amount of strawberries I've had. So flowers are just everywhere now. Remember those sweet peas that I put out the base of this cherry tree a few months ago? Let me show you. Now, if you remember, I put these sweet peas in, and I just put them at the base with a bit of trellis hanging up them, and I think it looks lovely just climbing through the cherry tree. It's not causing any harm to the tree at all, and I just think it gives a nice bit of colour, so I'm definitely going to do that again. So I figured what I'm going to do today is, all the fruit bushes now are full of berries and currants and raspberries. They desperately need to be netted up, so I'm not going to make a massive thing about it this year, because next year maybe I'll plant, I'll restructure some of the areas so that the fruit, it's got its own designated area at some point. I don't know. So I think what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to put a net all the way across the one side of this plot, just draped over and hanging it all over, so it keeps the birds off them this year. And that's the plan anyway. I'm going to take out the last of these spring cabbages. They're huge. I just don't need them now. I'm going to take them off, chop them up, freeze them, or I might use them for tea tonight. And then that bed's then free to put some more swede in. They were the April cabbages, and I tell you what, honestly, they're more like Filderkraut. They're absolutely ginormous. Look at this for a spring cabbage. It's summer, but look at this spring cabbage. Look at the size of these. Now, these in November were eaten to the core by slugs, and I took them inside and I nurtured them on in the greenhouse over the winter, and they've come back, and they've just come back leaps and bounds. So if you've ever, if you've got a plant and you think, oh, the slugs have eaten that down to the bare root of a brassica, there is a chance that it'll come back, and brassicas are pretty good for that. So look at these are the Kent blue pea. Bill and Val sent me over, and fair play to them, they've given me a nice little show, and they smell amazing. So they're just more of a violet and a blue colour, and yeah, and they're all also producing these lovely peas as well. So I'm going to let them pod up, and I'm going to keep all the seeds. And I may, if other people want some, then let me know, and I can do what they did to me and pass them on. So one thing I love growing is strawflowers. If you haven't grown them, then I highly recommend. They're the most fascinating flower ever. They haven't got a soft, delicate petal. They are like paper, and when you cut them, they look like they're made out of paper. They're just so dry and dense, and they save amazingly. So let me show you one now. Let me climb through all the the apples. Look at this. So this one hasn't opened yet. Look at this. It's absolutely amazing, and these feel like paper, and there's a few here as well. Now these, weirdly, I didn't actually sow this year. I had a failed sowing, but just by luck I went into the potting shed where I had some overwintered chilies. They died, and there was these plants, these little seedlings at the bottom, and I thought, okay, I'm going to let them grow on, and lo and behold, as always, I've got strawflowers on my plot. So nature will always prevail. The sweet peas, look at this. I showed you before, but it's just honestly, it's taking over the plot now. But I love it. I'm gonna have to give it a bit of a tidy today and try and push it all back into that column. But the smell, I wish you could smell this. I mean, look at all that. I'll pick some today as well. But if you're going to grow flowers, what better place than to grow them right next to the main paths that you use, because that's where you're going to be all the time. There's no point growing scented flowers to be over in the corners and you're not going to benefit from them. So today I'm going to net all the fruit and get all the little odd jobs done. I've come over with no agenda, and I love it. I think as gardeners, we put so much pressure on ourselves to just perfect things. And I mean, I realised that from my last video that I you know, I titled it wrong, I think, because I was stressing that the plot was, you know, gone to tatters after 2 weeks, and in reality it's not so bad. But as a gardener, especially if you've got a channel as well, you've got this pressure on you to forever make it look perfect and that you know what you're doing, and we are in exactly the same boat as everyone else. We wing it, we hope for the best, and we all get failed crops and failed harvests, and we also get surprise ones as well. So I think one thing I'm going to learn from that is that, you know, that I think we put too much pressure on ourselves. Gardening is supposed to be an enjoyable thing that de-stresses you and you enjoy, and for me, I never had that before, but having a channel, it put that pressure on that I had to make sure that it looked nice for you all, but that's not the reality, and I've never wanted to do that, and I'm hoping that I'll carry on doing that you see a real allotment in the fails, the successes, and all in between. Right, I'm talking and talking and talking, and I'm not getting nothing done, and I'm enjoying the fact that I can look over and I'm seeing some of the great bunches growing. Right, work. But I also planted some black currants on the bottom of the plot as well, and I haven't seen on, oh yeah, I tell a lie, there's some black currants here as well. So here they all are. I really should net these as well, but tell you what, that bit of rain has done this corn a world of good. They are shooting up now, and I've already seen that the side shoots are coming as well. This will need a weed on the next few days. The courgettes are coming now, lovely. The runner beans over here now are finally shooting up out of safety from the slugs, and these ones are just absolutely crazy. They're covered. So what I thought I'd do is I thought I might add a few canes across from here to here, and then these can then just extend across, and I might even get a bit of an archway of runner beans across here as well. So that's a plan for another day. There's so much to do, and you know what, I've put in sprouts and this bed, let me show you. So these two beds have been netted since I planted them up, and today I'm going to take the nets off, go through them all, give them a good spruce up, pull all the dead leaves off. But I must say the cavolo and Nero has come through. They're amazing. The sprouts are looking amazing as well. I think they're Evesham special, and look, I've never been able to grow broccoli, but how beautiful is that one there? So, but this one is about to blow. So if you ever think, is it the right time to harvest, this is your last chance, because by tomorrow this will be gone. But there's some little ones in here as well, so I'm happy. So there's some broccoli that I can harvest, and I've never been able to do it before, but I'm happy that all 6 plants I put in, I've got them. So what I'll do now is I'll chop this one off, leave the plant in, and then hopefully from where the stem was you'll have side shoots of broccoli as well. So leave your plants in and you can get extra harvest. So these are my Greyhound cabbages, my red sprouts. I can't see no sprouts yet, but they're looking amazing. But this is tight now. This is desperate for these hoops to be raised. So I've got some extra pipes down the bottom of the plot that I'm just going to push into the ground, drop the hoops over, and then they'll be higher up, and that way I'm getting that extra height, because these before long are going to be super high, and the nets are just not going to do what they need to do and keep all those white butterflies off. But I don't know if it's just me in my area, but this year I haven't seen many white butterflies yet. I know it's the end of June, but normally by now there's loads, and we've had such good weather as well. I've seen hardly any. I think I've seen 3 all year. So I'm going to take them off today, and to be honest, I've looked at some of these cabbages and they're huge. I'm definitely going to harvest one. Let me show you this now. This is definitely my best year for brassicas because the sprouts are looking amazing. All the cavolo Nero, even my broccolis. I just cannot believe how good they are this year. This one is the Filderkraut and it's huge. For some reason I've got a stray potato here, and this was a new bed, but I must have poured in a bucket of old potato compost or something. So these are looking amazing in here. So my family are going to really benefit from them this week. So yeah, right, let's get in, let's give it a good spruce. So what I thought I'd do is I'm just going to open up all the nets. How amazing do they look? I'm so pleased. Once you pull them off, you can see that radiant colour of green and red, purpley red, and you really do appreciate, like, the hoops are right down here and there's bindweed coming through, so I'm going to have to address that now. I've left this potato in on purpose because it wasn't really bothering me, so I left it. The Filderkraut, the Filderkraut is hearting up now in the middle. So I'm going to go through and weed all these because believe me, there are some weeds and you don't want this to go to seed and then you end up in your bed. So right, let's get through, give it a good weed and raise these up because they need to ideally be another foot up here. So I think that's what I'm going to do now. You know, you don't want things like this in the way. That's the thistle. And I put some well rotted manure in this bed, and granted the soil is absolutely amazing. I will say this is amazing soil, and the proof is in the pudding with the crops this year. These two had the most feed out of all the plot, and apart from the fact that they're pushing up against the nets, they'll soon bounce back, but everything else, the proof is in it that giving it a good feed, good soil structure and preparing your beds in the autumn ready for the spring and summer has paid dividends, because I've never had this much of a successful harvest, and I can already see on the Evesham special baby sprouts. They're about the size of a pea, and I'm so excited that I've got this much ready, you know, for winter and summer, and these will be the end of autumn. So in this bed there's already 3 seasons worth of crops, so I'm happy. I am one happy boy. Look at the amazing crops that are in here now. I'm going to harvest some of these, and there is some marigolds creeping up through, and so I've got to make sure that when I harvest I don't knock those back. But how amazing, look at these Greyhound cabbage that they're ready to harvest. I mean, I'll harvest some of these today. The bindweed, the dreaded bindweed. So the best thing to do is, if you've got these leaves that are being eaten by slugs and pests, I mean, that's no good for eating, so we'll remove it. Decaying leaves like this, remove them, and that will ensure that the future leaves and the ones above will get the nutrients that's needed. So just take them off, and also you're not creating little bridges for the slugs to climb up. So I'm not sure what potato this was because I don't know what bucket it was from, but I've decided I am going to pull it out because I've got enough potatoes. And digging down, okay, so they look like a new potato, so I'll harvest these now and I can use them as well on my roast. So this was a volunteer potato plant, and no doubt I'll have potatoes in here for a few more times, I'm sure, unless I make sure that all the potatoes are out. For some reason it was just one. Oh, No, maybe they're bigger potatoes. I mean, look at that. So I'm gonna have to go through this now and ensure that there's no potatoes left in this bed. Because if you leave the potatoes in next year, I mean, look, you think you've got them all, and then when you go down, there's another potato there. If you leave that in next year, next year, this will be another problem in your bed. I don't mind a volunteer potato, but the aesthetics, and if you want it to look nice, potatoes will just pop up everywhere. That's the benefit, I think, of growing in containers. You're containing all those seed potatoes and all those tiny little volunteers from growing anywhere. So I've not used a spade or trowel or fork because I'm using my hands, and I regret it every time because I have to clean out all my nails, but it ensures that I don't spear any of the potatoes. And I kind of like the fact that putting my hands in the soil and going back to nature. So I think that's it. So that's not bad, a few potatoes. I mean, I can't grumble for that. I got 4 decent potatoes. That's my meal sorted for free. So from when I cleared my plot, I had these like old poles from previous owners and given to me. I never throw them away. You know, people throw them away. I said, you're crazy, because these are future investments and things that you can use. I mean, one man's junk is another one's treasure. This will now fit on, oh, dirty myself up. This will now fit on here, and this will increase the pole height. So I'll now pop this back in, get a hammer, and there you go. Now you can adjust this then to what you need by hammering them down. I'll keep it about this height now, perfect for the sprouts. Let's get all the rest of them done. So I've heightened all the hoops on both these beds now, and I put the extra wide net over, and I just think it looks so much better, and it's given it a lot more airflow. I've weeded, took off all the dead leaves, and yeah, I'm really happy. So look at the airflow in here now. It just looks so much better because I started seeing the sprouts were pushing up against the netting that I had. This has increased it now for about another foot or so, and I can go up higher again if I need to. The same in here, all the red sprouts. These are the Red Bull sprouts, and these are Greyhound cabbages, and they're looking amazing. So some were starting again to push up against the net. They'll soon correct themselves. And then the Filderkraut cabbage, I only grew one to see what it'd be like, and if you look, I've taken off all the dead leaves, and we've got some perfect cabbages in there now. So I didn't get around to half the jobs that I had planned today, but I'm glad that I've extended those hoops and, you know, got the netting back on, because the heavens are about to open now, so I need to head home. So like I said, just don't pressure yourself for the plot or your garden. Enjoy it. There's always another day, there's always another year. You know, I didn't finish off flowering all the beds that I want to do and filling in with some of the things that I had planned, but there's always next year, and if you did it all now and it all came, you know, it wouldn't be fun. So right, I better get home. So take care guys, and I'll see you all again soon.